What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Welcome back to another Tottenham update. Starting off with Conor Gallagher. Jacob Steinberg says that Conor Gallagher is being pursued by Tottenham and West Ham. They've both held talks over a move for the England international, and there is a good chance he leaves Chelsea this summer. Florian Plettenberg saying that West Ham are in talks with Tottenham target Conor Gallagher. Talks about a transfer fee package of around 25 to 35 million euros. So what do you make out of this one, Sim?
I don't think Chelsea would be willing to sell Gallagher to us anyway for as little as that package that you're talking about. I think that if that is the case, 25 to 35 million euros, I think we should be all over that. I think that's a very good deal, especially if Højbjerg is leaving. I'll definitely replace Højbjerg with someone like Gallagher, and I think that gives us a bit more offensive ability in the midfield. Although, judging on what we saw yesterday, it seems as though Højbjerg might be more of a number 6 under Postecoglou. That's the role he was playing rather than number 8. And if that's the case, maybe he's not a natural replacement for Højbjerg. So that's something to be assessed by the manager. But I think Conor Gallagher is a very talented player, and I think that's a good price point. I think if Spurs are involved, I think the price goes up, in my opinion. But maybe they would be willing to sell to West Ham for a bit less.
So, I mean, if the price does go up, and we're talking about maybe it's not in replacement for Højbjerg, but maybe in competition, maybe a replacement for Lo Celso if he does go. If that is the case, I mean, is that a drop down in quality?
Is it a drop down in quality? I don't know. I don't think so. I think Conor Gallagher is a very talented midfielder. I think he's, at the moment, Chelsea haven't got the best out of him. I think Chelsea been a mess. Let's be honest. I don't think you can judge his performances last season and say that's the true Conor Gallagher, even though he wasn't that good. Everyone at Chelsea was rubbish last season. I think he's really talented. I think Lo Celso is very talented as well, but I wouldn't say he's a drop down in quality. I think they're pretty similar, in my opinion.
Would you reckon Conor Gallagher gets into the Argentina side?
I reckon he gets to the squad.
Potentially. I think, like, when you're looking at it, I think Lo Celso's been through a lot at Tottenham, and obviously, in my personal opinion, I think the quality of the player, I think Lo Celso's a better player. But when you're taking a whole package involved, and if Lo Celso wants to be here, and if he's willing to put in the work rate consistently, then I think Conor Gallagher would probably be ahead of him in that stage. But if Lo Celso's willing to put in the work and really wants to be here and willing to really put his foot down at Spurs, I think Lo Celso is probably the better option to take, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think Gallagher has the potential to be as good as Lo Celso. I think he's a bit younger as well. You've got to remember that. And I think what he offers off the ball is a bit more than Lo Celso. And also, I think his injury record's a bit better as well. So I think the gap in quality can be closed, in my opinion. As much as there might be a small one at the moment, I think it's negligible.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Harry Kane. Charlie Eccleshare says that Kane is open to joining Bayern, but we don't know if he'd definitely accept the offer. Should things actually get that far, Tottenham's position this summer is that they want to tie Kane down to a deal. Failing that, the only other option, as far as they're concerned, would be to sell him to Bayern for a good fee. The feeling around the industry is that Tottenham can't accept losing him for nothing next year, and also Barcelona are amongst those that are keen on taking Harry Kane on a free next summer.
Yeah, no surprises that a club as big as Barcelona would be interested. At the moment, they've got Lewandowski. Who knows what kind of condition he's not getting any younger, is he, Lewandowski? So Kane is 4 years younger than him. I think Lewandowski's 34 now. So I mean, he's still one of the best strikers in Europe, Lewandowski. He's banging them in. I think he got the golden boot last season, didn't he, in La Liga? So it's not like he's slowing down at the moment, but who knows what is going to be the case in a year's time, and maybe they'll want to replace him. Obviously, at the moment, the industry would think, Tottenham can't lose Harry Kane for free, because it's all about making sure you're getting top dollar, or getting some money for your star asset. When you've got a star player like Kane worth 100 million, and the risk is losing him for absolutely nothing, obviously within the game, everyone's going to be thinking about, you have to make sure that you get something for him, and you can't lose him on a free. And I hear that, but I think Kane is just a bit of a different circumstance, considering he's how much he means to Tottenham, and kind of, he's been here for such a long time. He's been top of his game for such a long time, and I think Tottenham might take a bit of a risk to try and get him to sign the contract, as much as that would, people around football might think that's ridiculous. Might think, oh, you have to sell him if there's any risk of him going on a free, you have to sell him. That's probably what other top chairmen are thinking. But I think when it comes to Harry Kane, it's just maybe a bit of a different circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. But when you look at the next summer and the transfer market and the scope of the transfer market next year, you could have the potential of a Harry Kane and a Kylian Mbappe both going on a free transfer. And, you know, with 1 year left in their contract, you could probably get a combined fee of like 300 million for the both, which is absolutely nuts to think about. And you look at the stance that PSG are taking right now on Kylian Mbappe, they're basically saying sign or go.
They said that last summer or whenever it was, maybe 2 summers ago, and he ran
did sign.
Yeah, but he signed at the end of his contract. He ran it down and then signed.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, but I mean, also, I just can't see, unless things dramatically change at Tottenham and we're looking like we could potentially challenge for a league or go on and win some trophies, I just can't see Kane willing to put his signature on that dotted line. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that he could sign. And I've said it many a time before. If he's not going to sign, I just would prefer us just to sell right now, to be honest. And I think that it's going to be a painful exit whether he goes for money or whether he goes for free. But if he goes for free, he's going to have his pick of the clubs to go to, and him going to an English club will just be the worst in all cases. And so I think that we need to start planning without him if he's not going to sign. And it's better to get a fee so we can start restructuring that position.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee he won't sign. Obviously, there is a guarantee he's not going to sign right now. That's the risk. He's not signing this summer. I think everyone can accept that. That's for sure. We all know that Kane won't sign a contract this summer until he sees what's going on at Tottenham. But the risk is maybe something special will start happening. There's no guarantee that it will. But is it better to kind of put your eggs in that basket rather than take 70 or 80 million from Bayern Munich now, or bet on Tottenham trying to achieve something this season with Postecoglou and him being convinced that Tottenham are really going in the right direction under Postecoglou? There is a small chance that happens. If obviously we get the fee from Bayern, then sell him now. But if we're not going to get the fee, then you are running the risk, but maybe it's worth the risk. And it's another year with him in the Tottenham shirt.
I mean, look, to tell me we'll have another year in a Tottenham shirt, I'm not going to say no to that. I mean, I'd absolutely love it. And obviously, the more Harry Kane in the Spurs shirt, the better. But I just feel for the long-term planning and the long-term future and starting a life without Harry Kane, it might be better just to get that money in and to move forward with it. But look, we'll see how it pans out. Davinson Sanchez we'll talk about next. Matti Moretto saying that Strasbourg are in talks for Tottenham Davinson Sanchez. No agreement yet between the parties, especially for the player's salary. Meanwhile, other clubs also like the defender. I mean, we've heard about so many clubs in for Davinson Sanchez this summer, but nothing really too concrete as of yet.
Yeah, he's out on tour with us at the moment, so definitely nothing close.
Already got an assist to his name.
Exactly.
What a player.
Look, we all, like Postecoglou said today, that we're definitely looking for another senior centre-back, and so clearly he needs to leave. He needs to get out the door to make room for that. And we all know that no one thinks at the moment that he's good enough for Tottenham Hotspur. So if it's Strasbourg, if it's someone in Turkey, if it's Spartak Moscow, whoever it is, we just need to get him out the door, and we shouldn't be too concerned about maximising the biggest fee, because the more important issue is opening up that space in the squad to bring in another defender.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Let's talk about Pape Mata now. Le 10 Sport saying that Marseille, Rennes and Lille are all interested in signing Pape Mata on loan. Tottenham are yet to decide whether to let him leave ahead of the new campaign. I mean, when you're looking at the midfield options that we have right now, you're looking at Spurs potentially wanting to bring in another midfielder this window as well. We spoke yesterday briefly about where Pape Mata fits in. Do you feel like a loan move might be the best for his development right now?
Probably. I mean, I was really impressed with his performance in the second half yesterday in the friendly. And obviously, I think whenever he's played, to be honest, he's been pretty impressive by and large. Yeah, he's had some poor performances as well. But, you know, San Siro, he was really impressive. He's had some really good, like, I remember the FA Cup, he had some really good performances as well. So I think he has, like, made a good account of himself whenever he's been on the pitch. So I do think if he was given a first-team role at Tottenham next season, I think he could do a good job. Not to say that he'd be like ready to start dominating midfields week in, week out. But I think he would be a squad option. But of course, if he was to go on loan and then be a starter somewhere guaranteed every week and have those minutes under his belt, it probably would help his development. But I am liking the look of him. So I do think he could have his uses as a first team squad member. But in terms of his development personally, yeah, it probably is better to go on loan at this point.
And maybe I know the French league isn't, same quality as the English league, but if he was to go to somewhere like Marseille, you've got European football there as well, which he'll get valuable minutes in. And I don't know, would you think a loan move to France would be the best option for him, or would you like to see him go somewhere in the Premier League maybe?
Yeah, for sure in the Premier League, but if that's not an option, France isn't a terrible option. Marseille is a good team. They play good football as well. So, look, last time he was in the Premier League, in the Liga, he was at Metz, wasn't he? And they were battling it. But exactly, so it wasn't exactly the best kind of best team for him to be at for his development. So I think a team like Marseille, when he's got to have what he's battling better players around him, people like Guendouzi and people like that, where he's got to fight for his place a bit. I mean, maybe that kind of putting him in that kind of environment might up his game a bit. And if he can earn a place in that team, then all of a sudden okay, if he's starting for Marseille, then for sure he's going to have a place at Tottenham.
And you saw the kind of how it helped the development of players like William Saliba as well. I mean, he was on Marseille. He was at Marseille as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he went to Marseille, had a couple of seasons there, and he came back to England and really just hit the ground running and turned into one of the best defenders in the Premier League, to be honest. And I'm sure it's happened with a couple of other players as well. So I think it would be a good move for him if he was to play week in, week out as a starting role in that central midfield. But let's move on and let's talk about a player that Spurs are set to sign today, apparently. James Nursery broke this last night, and it's about a player called Ashley Phillips at Blackburn. And he says that Tottenham are set to capitalise on Blackburn's financial cutbacks with a deal for young centre-back prospect Ashley Phillips, which should be finalised tomorrow. The starlet will then travel to Asia immediately to be with the first team. Charlie Eccleshare also said that Tottenham set to sign Ashley Phillips for around £3 million. It won't affect Spurs' plans to try to sign at least one centre-back. And Ali Gold says that Tottenham are set to finalise the signing of Ashley Phillips as a young deal for the future from Castrat Blackburn for a fee of £3 million. The highly rated 18-year-old is not expected to be one of the two defenders the club are looking to bring in for Ange Postecoglou this transfer window. The exciting England under-19 international is very much one for the future, with only 8 championship appearances to his name so far. But the 6'3" centre-back will be part of Postecoglou's first-team squad as he continues to develop. The teenager will undergo his medical in the UK in the next 24 hours before joining up with Tottenham as part of the Asian tour in Thailand and Singapore. And it's an interesting one, this one, because it is a player that we were linked to and we were looking to sign last summer as well. That didn't happen for one reason or another, and he put pen to paper with Blackburn to continue his development. But now Blackburn are going through some financial problems. Daniel Levy has swooped in and really capitalised on that. And I was doing a bit of research on him last night, and he looks like a really fast, pacey centre-back, really tall, and got really good ball-playing ability as well. So it could be one really good one for the future.
Name me a better couple than Levy and clubs in financial crisis. I don't think there's ever been a better relationship between the two. Levy loves to take advantage of these situations. He's done it time and time again, and it looks like he's doing it again this time. But in terms of the defender, obviously I haven't seen much of him. Haven't seen him play too much, but it seems like a really good defender for the future. I think he's at 18, he's like 6'2", or is like really tall, and apparently he's one that England have been kind of keeping an eye on for a long time. He seems to be really two-footed as well. Apparently, really composed on the ball. I'm happy that we're planning for the future and we're looking at these kind of talents, because in a few years' time it could pay off. And I think too often Spurs have either not gone for these talents or have, like, we've invested in these talents and then kind of let them go too early or haven't really given them a pathway. So I really hope that we really concentrate on making sure that when we get someone like him through the door, there is a pathway for him for the first team, and to actually see the future for him, rather than just signing him and then never giving him a chance because we're always signing other players in that position. So yeah, obviously he's 18, so he's not going to be getting a chance in the next year or two. But maybe when he's, after a couple loan deals when he's 21 or something like that, I want to see him actually get a chance and get some minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And, last season, 8 games in the Championship last season, 6 games in the EFL and the FA Cup combined. I mean, at 18 years of age, that's nothing to be sniffed at, to start a starting role in a few games here and there in the Championship in men's football. It's great experience, isn't it?
Definitely.
All right, so there you have it. That is your Tottenham update. Spurs set to sign a defender finally, but he is an 18-year-old kid and it won't have any bearing on the centre-backs that Spurs are looking to bring in. So they say. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Let me know your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.